Hello, this is the host of Growth Quest podcast, Mel Solomon. This is a segment that I like to call Midweek Madness. It is currently the 4th of November 2020, and it is the day after the presidential election. We do not yet know who won the presidential election here in the United States. So come January 2021, it'll still either be President Trump or it'll be President Biden, former Vice President Biden. I am now heavily of the opinion that we need to stop all early projections. We need to do we need to wait for every parish, every county, every municipality, every city within every state in our nation to be 100% finished with the tabulations and know exactly who their state in particular voted for before they start reporting out of these precincts. And hopefully that'll get rid of any kinds of confusion and any kind of thoughts that there may be voter fraud, and it'll stop any kind of tensions the very next morning, or feelings of sickness and, oh man, I hope it went my way. uh Also, with that being said, if you voted for Hillary in 2016, know one thing: you survived 4 years of President Trump. Likewise, if you've been a lifelong conservative or a neocon, you survived Obama for 8 years, and you will also survive a possible President Biden for either 4 to 8 years. What you need to start doing is being dynamic in nature. And what I mean by being dynamic in nature, if you are a capitalist, you understand that sometimes you have two businesses that are in direct competition with each other. And in order to survive, in order to get a one up, one of the businesses has to be better than the other at keeping up with the fluid nature of society. Society never remains in the same place. It's always progressing. Sometimes you'll see it repeat things from the past. History always repeats. They also have to be able to pick up on this. Remember when bell bottoms was coming back, making a comeback in the early 2000s and the late 90s? Yes, we thought we left that in the 70s, right? But apparently we didn't. Hoop earrings, etc., etc. But just as businesses have to be able to move and restructure themselves, you have to be able to do that in your personal life. When life gives you lemons, you do what? You make lemonade, right? You don't have to tell me. I know that in this time period, I am correct. You will survive whatever situation life gives you, and you will come out stronger on the other side. And I will also like to turn your attention to Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, where it says that God created man in his own image. If you were to look on the wall of any synagogue, you will see that it says in Hebrew lettering, know who you stand in front of. When you look at the president of the United States, when you look at any world leader, really, when you look at your neighbor, when you look at your boss, when you look at yourself in the mirror, know that you are looking at an individual who was created in God's image. And to give that person the utmost respect, to be able to uplift that person, to be able to pray for that person, to be able to ask God to bless that person. That is something tremendous. Nobody wants the pilot to crash the plane. Everybody wants the pilot to land the plane that they're on safely. Okay. So do not berate this individual. Do not talk down to this individual. Do not belittle this individual. When they're doing wrong, spare the rod, spoil the child, right? When they're doing wrong, smack them around, stop them from doing wrong. That's the great part of our country. We have the ability to do that. But treat those individuals with respect. So from here on out, what we need to be focused on, no matter who's president, is reuniting. One, first and foremost, because we have been divided for too long. But two, focused also on growing ourselves, because we cannot continue to grow as a nation if we are not focused on growing ourselves. I cannot help you if I do not first help myself. To go back to our airplane analogy, I have to put on my gas mask first, because if I pass out, I can't help you, or my oxygen mask, excuse me. If we pass out, I can't help you put your oxygen mask on if you're having trouble. And also, I kind of skipped out on the news aspect when I was talking about their projections. I'm also now of the opinion that we have to stop allowing anything that calls itself a news network to no longer be just that, a news network, but to be a bunch of grown adults who are arguing and giving heavily opinionated and heavily biased arguments all day and all night on loop, calling themselves news or a news network. Your opinion is not news. What the news is that we don't know who the next president is at this point in time. What the news is when whoever reaches 270 reaches 270. What the news is when a gas station gets held up down the street. The news is the weather. That's the news. So if that's what you're into, is a visual aspect of talk radio, then that's what you're into. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if it's Fox, CNN, any of that, probably minus C-SPAN, it's fake news, because it's no longer news. It's a bunch of arguing adults. So like I've already stated, let's focus on ourselves and then focus on one another and come back together as a nation. November 8th, you will be able to see around 7 p.m. or listen to my official second episode. Like I said, dropping at 7 p.m. This is not one that you want to miss. This one is going to be excellent. We'll be hitting on several topics, one of them being mental health and growing ourselves and getting rid of past traumas. So tune in for that. And I look forward to seeing you there. This is your host, Mel Solomon. Please find me on Instagram at Real Mel Solomon, MELSOLOMON. And enjoy the rest of your week.